All right, so this is practice exam 2, and I'm going to go over some of the questions and then solve them so that it helps you as you go over these questions. Now, for any reason, if you need me to solve any of these problems that I didn't touch on in this video, please send me an email. Let me know which question you want me to solve, and then I'm going to make a short video, solve the question, and then send it back to you. All right. Now let's go over some of these problems. Some of these you did or complete some of these questions in the homework and also in the quiz. So some of them are, I'm not going to go through them or solve them. There are some that I would also stop and then solve. Like number 12, look at number 12 real quick. Now for number 12, we are supposed to find the exponential notation in the standard notation. So first of all, we know that we have been given the factor form or the repeated multiplication form of this. 15 times 15 times 15. Now, what is the exponential form of this? So this here is the factor form. Now, the exponential form, of course, you have to have your power and then your exponent, like that. So we have 15 times 15 times 15, which is 15 to the power 3. So this is going to be your exponential form. Now, what about the standard form? What about that? So the standard form, you are looking at the whole number. So you have 15 times 15 times 15. You put that in a calculator and you should have 3,375. All right. So that is the standard form. Now let's move on to another question. Now let's look at problem 15. Problem 15. Problem 15. So solve the following operation. So you have 13 minus 8 times, in parentheses, 15 divided by 3, and then you close it. So if you want to go through this, you have to remember PEMDAS. So the P is parentheses, and then exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So you're always going to start with a parenthesis. So looking at this problem, I'm going to first of all go into the parenthesis, the P. So I rewrite the whole thing times 15 divided by 3 is a 5. At this point, you can take off the parenthesis. It doesn't really matter. You could take it off. So we have 13 minus 8 times 5. Now the rule says you have to move on to exponent or multiplication. We don't have an exponent in here, so we go to multiplication. So we have 13 minus 40. 13 minus 40. And what does that give us? Negative 27. Negative 27. Negative 27. I'm going to put that here. Negative 27. All right. Now let's look at number 16. Number 16. Number 16. Now for number 16, it says write an algebraic expression for the following mathematical statement. So it says some number n multiplied by 2, some number n. So n is some number. There's an n, all right? Let me just erase that. It's not a nice n. So I'm going to erase this. N minus multiplied by, it says multiplied by. So n times 2. Some number n multiplied by 2. All right. Number 17. Write the algebraic expression for the following statement. The sum of two numbers m and n divided by 2. So here we know that the sum of two numbers, here we are given the variables m and n. So the sum is going to be m plus n, right? That is the sum. Now, you could see that I've put m plus n in parentheses. Why? Because I need the sum. I don't need m and n as individual variables. I need the sum. So I divide by 2. Or I could rewrite this as that. M plus n divided by 2, all divided by 2, okay? Now, this is not the same as writing this, m plus n divided by 2. This is wrong, because what you are saying is that you are only dividing n by 2, but that's not what the question says. The question says, divide the sum of m plus n by 2. So if m is 5, n is 3, okay? You have to add them, get your 8, and then divide 8 by 2. That's what it means. But you don't have to do this. 5 plus 3 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2, this is 1.5. So 5 plus 1.5 gives you 6.5. So this is wrong. And that is why I put this in parentheses, so that you add m and n, get the sum, and then divide by 2, all right? So that's how you view this kind of problem. All right. I'm going to move on, scroll down. Scroll down. Let's look at number 22. Number 22. Number 22. Write an equation to represent the word problem, then solve it. Now, what is the word problem? If you multiply a number by 5 and add 6, the result is the 41 residents who work in a large city hospital. What is the number? So we have to solve it. We have to find that number in the end. So first of all, we have to get the equation, and then we find or solve for the number. So let's start. If you multiply a number, so let that number, the unknown number should be x, right? Okay. So if you multiply a number, that is my x, by 5 times x, right? Multiply the unknown number by 5, and you add 6 plus 6. The result is the 41 residents who work in the large city hospital equals 41. So what have I done? I've got my equation. So I write that here. Now you find the number. To find the number, it means I'm finding x, because x is my unknown number. So got 5x plus 6. I've got to move the plus 6 away. Now to do that, I have to subtract 6 on the left and then subtract. Do the same thing on the right because it's an equation. So 6 minus 6 goes to what? 0. So I have 5x plus 0, which is 5x. 41 minus 6, that gives you 35. I divide this side by 5. I want x to be lonely, so you have to help x to be lonely. 35 divided by 5, that gives me a 7. So my x is a 7. So that number is 7, all right? That number is 7, okay. And then remember that at any point you could pause this video and then write whatever you want to write down, okay? All right. Let's quickly look at number 32. Number 32. Solve the following using this ratio. So 263 grams dental stone powder divided by 80 ml of water. Now, if you use 117 ml of water, how many grams of dental stone powder are needed? So we have to use a ratio to solve this. So to use a ratio to solve this, let's get into it. We have 263 divided by 80. Now, I know that my 80 at the bottom is the ml of water, right? So on my right side, my bottom part or my denominator, it's also going to be the ml of water. And then how many grams? Let's do an x. Now, you could cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you have 80 times x, which is 80x, equals 263 times 117. 263 times 117. So you have to pick up your calculator and then solve this. 263 times 117. What does that give us? It's going to give us a very big number, I think. So let's do that. I'm going to do that on the calculator real quick. And we'll see what we got. So I think we have 8092773. This equals 80x, remember. Now I'm looking for x, so I divide by 80 on the left, I divide by 80 on the right. All right. Okay, I think that I did something wrong here. $263 times that is going to give us, oops, 30771, oh, 30771. So you divide by 80 now, and then you should have, oops. You should have 384.6375. And it says round to the nearest whole number. So you have 385, all right? So we're going to have 385. Yes, this sounds correct of that. All right. So again, that is how you set up the ratio. And I think cross multiply in this case makes it faster and then easier. So you could always cross multiply. Now let's keep going. One or two more. Okay. Let's look at number 39. Number 39. So in number 39, we have 6.5 quarts equals dash ml, or 6.5 quarts equals dash ml. Now with this one, we've got to go to these approximate equivalents. Look at the table and see which of these conversions we are going to use. Now, because we are dealing with quarts, I see one here. 1 quart equals 1 liter, right? And then I see another one here. But do I have a conversion from quarts to ml or milliliters? No, I don't. No, I don't. But I see that I have fluid ounce here and then ml here. Then I also have fluid ounce here with quarts. So I could create a two-step process where I change from quarts to fluid ounce and then from fluid ounce to ml, right? That would work. Yes, it would. So let's see what we got. So first of all, we know that 1 quart will give us 32 fluid ounce, right? So we could create a ratio with this. So watch what I'm going to do, 1 with 32. Now the 1 on top is the quarts, the 32 at the bottom is the fluid ounce, right? Now equal 6.5 quarts divided by X fluid ounce, right? So here I have fluid ounce, here I have fluid ounce, here I have quarts, here I have the same thing, quarts. So that works. Now I could cross multiply. 1 times X here is going to be X, and then 32 times 6.5. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So at this point, to multiply this, I've got to change this mixed number or mixed fraction to an improper fraction. All right, so to do that, I have 32 times. I know the denominator is going to stay the same. And then to get a numerator, is you go clockwise. 2 times 6 plus 1. 2 times 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So I have 13 over 2. And 32 on my left is 32 over 1, right? Any number, any whole number is over 1, right? Any number actually is over 1. So with this, I could either just multiply and then simplify in the end, or I could try and then simplify right now. So 2 goes into itself 1 time, 2 goes into 32 16 times. So I'm going to have 16 times 13, which is 208, divided by 1, which is the same thing. So it means that I have 208 fluid ounce, right? Now, this is from quarts to fluid ounce. Now, I'm not going from quarts to fluid ounce, but from quarts to ml. Since I have this in fluid ounce now, which is equal to 6.5 quarts, I could change the fluid ounce to ml. So let's do that. Now we know that 1 fluid ounce equals 30 ml, right? So I could set up a ratio. I'm going to erase this part because I don't have so much space. I could set this up as that 1 over 30, over 30 equals. Remember, the 1 on top is fluid ounce, right? And then the 30 is ml. So on my right, the fluid ounce is going to be on top, 208, and then my X for ml is going to be at the bottom. My X is going to be at the bottom. So I cross multiply. X times 1 is X. 30 times 208. What's that going to give us? We're going to have a 0, a 4, and then we're going to have a 2, and then we would have a 6 equals X. And what is this in ml? So this tells us that we moved 2 steps. And what do I mean by that? In a summary, what I did was that from 6 1/2 quarts, I went to 208 rounds, and then I went to 6240 ml. 6240 ml. So that's how you solve a problem like this. All right. Again, if you go over this and you have questions, please send me an email and let me know. Let me know, because going through these practice problems will help you do very well on the exam. All right. Okay. So let me know if you have questions. If you have questions, let me know. Let's look at one more, and that is going to be number 44. Number 44. Number 44. So 10 ml or dash teaspoons of an oral suspension is given to a child every 4 hours. Now, if you go back to any of the tables that we are using for approximate equivalence, like this one at the bottom, you would see that 5 ml equals 1 teaspoon. 5 ml equals 1 teaspoon. So with that, that helps us a lot. So if I have 10 ml, it's equal to dash teaspoon. But I know that 5 ml equals what? 1 T. 5 ml. So if I double this, then this would also double, right? Teaspoon. Or you could set up a proportion or a proportional equation. 1 over 5, which is 1 teaspoon over 5 ml equals 10 ml, ml's at the bottom, X. Then you cross multiply. All right? You have 5 times X, which is 5X times equals 10 times 1, which is 10. And then you divide, okay? You have 2. So this point right here, we're going to have 2 teaspoons. So I put that on there. Of oral suspension is given to a child every 4 hours. Every 4 hours. So let's keep going. Oops. No, this is going to go away. Every 4 hours. So every 4 hours, 2 teaspoons of oral suspension. This is dash tablespoons in a 24-hour period. So what about in 24 hours? What about in 24 hours? And we are not looking at teaspoons, we are looking at tablespoons. But first of all, we know that in every 4 hours, this child is given 2 teaspoons, right? Every 4 hours. Now, we have to find how many teaspoons this child gets for 24 hours, right? So if you double this, you have 8 hours equals 4. You double the teaspoons as well, right? If you double this again, you get what? 16 hours. And this is doubled, you have 8 teaspoons, right? So we could keep on going that way till we get to 24. Till we get to 24. But you could create a proportion for this as well. We know that 2 teaspoons every 4 hours, 2 over 4 equals, remember the bottom is the hours, X teaspoons for 24 hours. Now you cross multiply, which makes life easy for you. 4 times X is 4X. I'm going to write that here equals 2 times 24, which is 48. Divide by 4, you divide by 4. And then what happens? You have 48 divided by 4 is 12. So X equals 12. What this means is that in 24 hours, this child is given 12 teaspoons in a 24-hour period. But that is not our answer, right? Our answer is going to be in tablespoons. Now, again, from our approximate equivalent, and many of you maybe might know this, that 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. 1 tablespoon equals 3 teaspoons. So if that is true, then 1 table, 3 teaspoons. Let me write that here. 1 tablespoon, 3 equals 3 T. I'm just going to do T. Where is this 3 coming from? You've got to go away. Now this should equal, we've got, remember, we've got from here in a 24-hour period, we have 12 teaspoons. So this is what I do. The bottom is going to be 12 teaspoons, T over X tablespoons. Yay. So at this point again, you can cross multiply. When you cross multiply, I'm going to erase this. Again, you could go back and then rewatch it. So 3 times X is 3X. Oops. Equals 1 times 12 is 12, right? Because we are cross multiplying. Now, this should give us, because we're trying to find X, we divide both sides. So we have 12 divided by 3, which gives us a 4. So our X is what? 4. Our X is going to be 4. So it means that in a 24-hour period, you give 4 tablespoons to this child, or 12 teaspoons to this child. All right. Okay. So I'm going to end here. And then as I earlier said, if you have any challenges with any of these questions, send me an email, and then I will try and then solve it and then send it back to you. All right. Thank you. And I wish you the best of luck in the exam.